If there's one thing that you all take out of today's talk, and I'm just someone who's experienced imposter syndrome. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not an expert on this. I'm just sharing with you today my experiences of it and how debilitating I think it's been in my life. But really, imposter syndrome and all those things that we face in our head, they're on a spectrum from, doesn't really affect us and we deal with it to really debilitating. And I think one of the things that we have to always be careful of is that we don't want imposter syndrome or anything else like that being so debilitating that we stop doing things, that we stop applying for a promotion, that we stop applying for a stretch role, that we stop going out, that we stop celebrating the successes. And so that's the other thing I'd like you to take away with you today. Celebrate the success. Celebrate the stuff you do well. We're really good at somebody saying, and this applies to men and women, somebody will say, hey, that was great paper you wrote. And what's our answer? Oh, yeah, I think it could have been better. That last paragraph, it wasn't so good. And if you're out there smiling at that, I can't tell you how many times I do that. I imagine you all do that as well. Even when we have a success to celebrate, we minimize it because we think we should be focusing more on the weaknesses and the things we're not good at. There's a great one of those, it's not a personality assessment, it's a strength assessment out there. And if you'd like, when the one pager goes out after this, I'll put it in there. It's called Gallup. And it's based on a different way of assessing your strengths. Usually we're so used to being in workplaces where people say, the one thing you're really not good at is this. You need to improve this. What they don't do is say, hey, these are the 10 things you're awesome at. Why don't we give you a role where you're leveraging the 10 things you're really great at? And what that Gallup Strengths Assessment does is it really shines a light on your strengths, because they did some research and they discovered that when they interviewed leaders all around the world, that actually leaders had things in common, characteristics in common. And so if you have those leadership characteristics, we all have them, every single one of us have them, just in a different order. Then what you should be doing is strengthening your strengths, because that gives you confidence then to tell that voice in your head to shut up. I think, to be honest, the only people who don't have that voice in their head telling them that they're not good enough are the narcissists and the sociopaths. And none of us want to be that. So let's work out how we can live with that voice and leverage it and make it quieter on that stuff, but louder on the stuff that really matters.